Rajesh ji, now I am giving you all the responsibilities for today's meeting. Rajesh ji would take over now.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Good morning to all of you. Today is a great day for us. Today we are having a topic, input tax credit in GST and arrest provision under GST. And for this, we have our own great speaker, great person, great personality, respected Pankaj Ghia ji. He is, and today also we are having a great person, our session chairman, SD Sanjay Sahab. He is a additional Solicitor General of Patna High Court. Respected SD Sanjay Sahab is a learned person and a very good speaker, and he is associated with AFTP since long. And in addition to his great professional competence, he is also regularly involved in charitable work. And especially during this lockdown period, he has done so many charitable activities for the welfare of society, for poor, orphanages. During this lockdown period, he provided the food to needy persons, to thousands of needy persons, poor, and he created WhatsApp group where more than 150 persons have joined him voluntarily. His wife also supported him a lot during this lockdown period for serving the food to the needy persons. And in addition to the lockdown period, during normal days, SD Sanjay Saab and his wife is also involved in charitable activities. SD Sanjay Saab did not ask for any financial help from any of the persons, but many of the persons voluntarily joined him and came forward with financial help to the poor, and he took the help of so many government department, police department to send the food to the needy persons. So we cannot limit his professional and charitable activities in few words. So I hereby welcome SD Sanjay Saab, today's great person, today's session chairman. Now I come to the introduction of our own respected Pankaj Ghia ji, today's great speaker. He is an advocate practicing in direct and indirect taxes. He has written so many books on indirect taxes. He is regularly writing so many articles on indirect taxes. During wait period, he had published books, and in GST, he is regularly publishing many journals and articles. And he is past Secretary General of AFTP, past Vice President. He was President of RTCA, and he has held so many posts in so many associations, which I cannot enlist here in such a short time. He is regularly appearing in High Court. He is friendly to each one. He is a visionary person. He accepts big challenges very smilingly and accomplishes them also very smilingly. And he is an inspiration for all of us, and he is an institution in himself because of his good nature and professional competence. I cannot limit his so many qualities and his so many appraisal in few words. So because of shortage of time, I cannot describe his so many good qualities. And with this, I hand over the mic to our chairman, respected Vinay Jolly ji. Vinay Jolly ji.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Chairman of today's webinar, respected Shri SD Sanjay ji, Senior Advocate, Additional Solicitor General, Patna High Court, Office Bearer of all zone and nationals, eminent speaker, my younger brother, and Chief Advisor of AFTP Central Zone, Shri Pankaj Ghia ji, senior members and professional colleagues, very good morning, all of you. Respected members, I welcome our chairman of Shri SD Sanjay, senior advocate, Additional Solicitor General, Patna High Court, and I am grateful to you, sir, for accepting our humble request. I welcome and thankful our learned speaker, Shri Pankaj Ghia ji. I welcome and thankful to all the senior members, professional colleagues for participating in large numbers in our webinar series organized by AFTP Central Zone. आइए हम सब पंकज जी के साथ ज्ञान रूपी गंगा सागर में डुबकी लगाते हैं. चलिए, थैंक यू. आप आई हैंड ओवर माइक श्री राजेश जी मेहता.
So now I hereby invite our Secretary Sandeep Agarwal ji to give his delegation.
Good morning, all of you. Good morning again. I welcome you all. I welcome our today's chairman, Shri Mr. S.D. Sanjay, sir, Senior Advocate, Additional Solicitor General, Patna High Court. I am thankful him for being as a chairman for this session. I am thankful to our today's learned speaker, Pankaj Ghia ji, who is a mentor, motivator for me. He is taking pain for a person behind all these webinars. I'm thankful to our chairman. I'm thankful to our National Vice President Rajesh Mehta ji for doing such great work with us. Thank you all, and thank you all for joining regularly to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. I hereby welcome all the office bearers from across the country of AFTP and all the members of AFTP and all the participants who are regularly joining us. And I hereby welcome our Samir Jani ji and all the office bearers. And as usual, we will be starting our today's webinar just exactly at the 10 o'clock, as our respected Pankaj Ghia ji always maintain the time and punctuality. So within just 1 minute, we are going to start our today's webinar.
Rajesh bhai, let us invite Hemant Motsa.
I invite our Joint Secretary, National Joint Secretary Hemant Motsa. Please speak some words, sir.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. Thank you, President Central Zone, Sri Vinay Jolly ji, Sandeep ji, Secretary Central Zone. It's my privilege. I am here, and today's chairman of the session, Sri S.D. Sanjay ji, he is an eminent advocate, Additional Solicitor General of Patna High Court. We will get the full guidance as a chairman in this session. This is the second part of deliberation of our beloved, great, dynamic, energetic, best guide, eminent speakers, my mentor, Sri Pankaj Ghia ji. Today's deliberation will help us, all professionals, to understand GST in good and simple manner. In these words, I welcome Sri Pankaj ji and hand over the mic to Sri Rajesh Mehta ji.
So now this is just 10 a.m. So I hereby invite our today's session chairman, respected S.D. Sanjay Sahab, Additional Solicitor General, Senior Advocate, to give his chairman remarks. Welcome, S.D. Sanjay Sahab.
Very good morning to all of you, friends. It's due to globalization and internet that we are very well connected with the entire world today. But COVID has made the peril known to everybody at this stage. In this time of COVID-19, which is surrounding us in the fear of our very existence on the earth, I believe that such webinar has much relevance, and it is extremely positive steps to spend our time together by enhancing and enriching our knowledge and legal acumen. Although I do admit that this is a second best to helping everyone, and we are in need. But I am sure that all of you who have joined the discussion today are doing your bit to make this world a bit more better. This webinar has been organized by Central Zone of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners I feel privileged to inform you that I am a life member of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners from the past more than 20 years. And today I have the honor to chair this session. There has been stalwarts of tax laws who has formed this federation. And one of them was late N.M. Raka sir, who belonged to Jaipur. I pay my respectful tribute to him. Yesterday, my friend, Mr. R.D. Rastogi, Learned Additional Solicitor General, Rajasthan, was the chairman of this session. And I had the privilege to listen Mr. G.D. Bansal. And thereafter, immediately, I was informed by Mr. Pankaj Ghia that in today's session, which is going to be on GST, I will have to be the chairman. I immediately accepted his offer. And this is how today I am before you all. Now, friends, before I start on the subject, I thank to Sri Pankaj Ghia ji for this invitation, and also the Mr. Vinay Jolly ji and all the office bearers of Central Zone of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners. I also thank to the President of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners, and I will be failing in my duty if I don't thank to the office bearers of East Zone of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners and the immediate past President, Dr. Ashok Saraf, in their support and contribution of some work which I am doing in Patna, that is the mission of Feed the Needies. Now, friend, coming on the topic today, the subject matter of discussion is input tax credit under the GST Act, as well as the provision of arrest under the said Act. The speaker is Pankaj Ghia ji, an eminent and known advocate of Jaipur. He is a very knowledgeable and enthusiastic man with far more legal acumen and intellect than his age would reflect. He is a versatile lawyer. I suppose that it will not be a stretch if I say that the area of input tax credit is one of the topics that has been widely written upon and discussed on a number of platforms. Also, coming on the second topic of arrest provisions under the GST Act, I believe it will not be incorrect in saying that this has been one of the less explored provisions and has been sparingly used by the government only in case of intentional and deliberate tax evasion, as also involving fake and false claim of huge amount of input tax credit. But with the increase in the number of cases of such fraud which are being detected nowadays, a discussion on this issue is really needed. Now, friends, so far as input tax credit is concerned, let me share, it has been one of my favorite areas of law. The provision relating to input tax credit has been in taxing statute books since long, in some or the other form. Even in the sales tax regime earlier, this was in one form. Earlier, when there was point of levies, then when the tax was paid at the first point, then on showing the evidence on the subsequent stage, it was exempted. Now, subsequently, when all the states shifted to VAT regime, then also in the VAT, which was a multi-point levy taxation scheme, such provision was there. And I will share with you that I had the opportunity to challenge the denial of transitional credit under the VAT law on account of certain procedural lapses. I had argued that in the year 2006, and I had contended before the division bench of Patna High Court that this right is an indefeasible substantive right under the statute and cannot be denied due to certain procedural lapses. This was in the case of BS Enterprises versus State of Bihar, a reported judgment in 2006 for PLJR 612. However, at that point of time, my contention was not accepted and the case was dismissed. Friends, interestingly, after a span of 13 years, the same argument was made before Punjab and Haryana High Court, and that was found favored by the High Court. and the High Court accepted the contention and held that this is a substantive right and cannot be denied due to certain procedural flaws. Now, friends, this was decided in the case of, and you all must be knowing, in Adford Technologies Private Limited versus Union of India. And after this, the matter was taken to Supreme Court, and recently, on 20th February 2020, the Honorable Supreme Court has upheld the judgment of Punjab and Haryana High Court. You all must be knowing that even prior to that, Gujarat High Court and Delhi High Court also took the same view. But in spite of that, even across the country, large number of cases are pending on this subject. And there are more contentious issues in input tax credit. And therefore, this topic is extremely relevant for healthy discussion. Then friends, similarly, so far the penal provisions under the GST is concerned and the provision for arrest of persons allegedly violating the provisions are concerned, this also holds extreme contemporary relevance because of the unscrupulous dealer defrauding the government and trying to fraud by claiming huge fake claims of input tax credit. Therefore, as a practitioner, one must be fully equipped to deal with such situation on either sides. My friend Mr. Pankaj Ghia will illuminate on both these aspects today. He is an ardent practitioner of law, primarily practicing in Rajasthan High Court. He has also written a commentary on GST law and practice, giving a glimpse of his specialized knowledge in this field. It is a privilege for all of us to be enlightened by his views on this contemporary regime. I thank you for granting me this opportunity to share this platform with all of you. And I wish that we should continue with this so that we can enrich your knowledge in lockdown and increase our acumen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SD Sanjay Saab. Thanks a lot for giving your words of wisdom. Before I hand over the mic to our today's speaker, just I request that yesterday we had sent an SMS to all the participants from our IFTP. So kindly just immediately check that SMS. If anyone has received that SMS, there was a link that kindly click on that link. That will take not more than 1 second. So you will join with our WhatsApp group. So we will be sending you all updations and all our activities on that WhatsApp group for in future also. And if anyone has not received that SMS, then kindly put your mobile number in our chat box so that we will be sending you SMS. So kindly put your mobile number in this chat box. And now I hand over the mic to our respected Pankaj Ghia ji for his deliberation.
Thank you, Rajesh Bhai, and thank you, everybody. And I always start with good morning, India, because we are joined by East, West, North, South, Central, and again today we had crossed 500 participants, and it is because of your love and affection. My chairman, Shri SD Sanjay Saab, friends, it is a privilege for me to be here to address you as a speaker today in place of a moderator or a convener of this webinar series. And I can say it is a privilege for all of us that we have a chairman like Mr. SD Sanjay. He is a friend of friends, a prolific speaker, a prolific contributor to the society. He is always contributing in one way or the other. If you go through the list of the charitable activities done by him, the photos, if you can go through on the website and see, and just type SD Sanjay, you will know how much charitable activities he is doing in Patna right now. He agreed to be the chairman on a simple phone call from me. And I am grateful and grateful to Mr. SD Sanjay for being here, for being the chairman of today's session. We will be seeing his concluding remarks. We will be seeing, he is a practitioner. He has been a member of the AIFTP for, as already said by him, for 20 years. He is the NEC member also, I presume, of the AIFTP. And we will see that he is a practitioner on the indirect. He is and was the practitioner on indirect taxes also. Filed many writ petitions on indirect taxes and had argued the matters before the Patna High Court regularly. Friends, with this, we had also the privilege of being joined by Mr. R.D. Rastogi, the chairman of yesterday's session, Additional Solicitor General, Rajasthan High Court, and I welcome Mr. R.D. Rastogi also. Already said, one of the finest gentlemen you can ever meet, a friend of friends again. Friends, now coming to the topic, because we have our limitation of time, we have concepts, and being the chairman of this webinar series, I cannot violate my own rules. So we have to go with the timings and everything. The question is input tax credit and arrest provisions, whether they are good, whether they are available, whether they are you get benefited by it or not, or whether you are afraid of them. There are many hiccups, whether you feel encumbered, you feel hiccuped by all these input tax provisions and the arrest provisions. We always feel that the intention of the government should be that it should be a facilitator to the trade. It should help the trade in going, and in the recent times with the COVID pandemic, with the situations at present, we feel it would be better if the government always helps the businessman to redevelop, to get the business from other countries, and particularly shifting of business from China. So let us examine whether input tax credit, because I always say that input tax credit section 16, it is the soul of the GST. It is, I can say, Atma of GST, and without understanding input tax credit, you cannot understand GST. But starting with my PPT, I would be first wishing you all the good wishes for Akshaya Tritiya today. All the good wishes to all my participants today, all my professional brothers throughout India today. Have a fantastic Akshaya Tritiya. Have Samriddhi, I can say, in your households. And with this, let us start with the PPT. Just a minute, friends. So it is again input tax credit and arrest provisions. The relevant provisions, I would be going very fast because then I will be having an interactive discussion with you. It is relevant sections are 16 to 21 and rules 36 to 45 and 86A. Friends, what I have done in this presentation is I am only discussing the controversial issues of input tax credit, and I am not going to the nitty-gritties of each line and each provision of the section and the rules. So I would be confining myself only to the controversial issues of the input tax credit. Now, what is input tax credit? For the input tax credit, there are some requirements, some sign and on for claiming ITC, and that are mentioned in section 16.2. And what are those? Possession of tax-paying documents, goods, services received, tax paid to government, and recipient file their return. And 4 of these conditions, they are the biggest cause of litigation, biggest cause of confusion, biggest cause of headache for all of us. Friends, what we have seen is that the working of input tax credit should be clear. There should be no hiccups, no confusion, no anomalies, and no fear of claiming of input tax credit. On the contrary, what we are seeing is that there is always a hiccup, confusion in claiming of input tax credit. And for claiming of input tax credit, as per the provisions, we have seen that there are 4 of the recitals. Now, these documents are tax invoice, debit note, bill of entry, or invoice. But moving on, now this is input tax credit. What do you see? This is the assessee who is running, who is doing a business and who is running, and at every point there is a hurdle, and he is not able to cross the hurdle. He falls, and then there is a demand. If he falls, if he fails, and what are the issues where he fails, I would be covering with the next slide. But that is the issue, there is one assessee who is jumping and coming fast, and there is one assessee who is not able to cross the hurdle, and he is always being bettered by the department. And we always say bettered by the department because most of the surveys, most of the search, most of the notices being issued by the department, most of the demand created by the department are only for the reason of input tax credit. There can be a valid reason, there can be an invalid reason, but what can be the reasons, we will see. Now these are some of the reasons. And in the bottom, what you will see, a man is running and he is not falling, as it mentioned in the earlier slide. He is running because he has overcome all these issues. He is following, he is trying to get the input tax credit in a routine manner, in a regular manner, as mentioned in the act. And if you follow the law, the moral is, if you follow the law, you will be running and you will be coming first. You will be clearing all the hurdles. But if you are not vigilant, if you are trying to sidetrack the law, if you are having some doubts, then you will be falling, like as I said in this earlier slide. So don't fall, be on the right side of the law. That is my motto, that is my message. And try to follow the provisions of law, try to sidetrack all the contentious issue and follow it. Now let us see what are the contentious issues. The first is, as already my chairman has said in his opening remarks, the false ITC through bogus bills. And though there are very limited number of cases, but the downtrend of those limited number of cases is having an impact on a larger number of dealers. There is always one person who is a mastermind, who is a wrongful person, who is on the wrong side of law, who try to take advantage of law. But because of him, there are many persons in the chain of dealers who falls in his trap, and they are genuine, they have done a genuine transaction, but they become on the wrong side of law. So we will be discussing those. Then there is a mismatch of invoices. Then the third point is very important, non-payment of GST by seller or chain. Now this is what, again, I would refer to my chairman's remark that he argued a case in 2006, lost it there then, but after 13 years, the Supreme Court accepted his basic argument in the case of Punjab and Haryana, confirmed by the Supreme Court, and in another case by the Delhi in Arise India, which was also confirmed by the Supreme Court, and said if the transaction is genuine, then the claim cannot be denied. But what is happening nowadays, that if you had purchased some goods from a seller who has not paid the GST, though you had paid the GST to him, then the input tax credit would not be given. Going further, if you had purchased some goods from a seller, he has paid the GST, he has reported in his returns, but when he had purchased some goods from his seller in the chain of sellers, his seller has also complied, but the third seller has not complied. So if the third seller has not complied, the dealer who is fourth in the chain of selling and purchasing the goods, he will fail. His ITC would be denied, and this is all because of the IT systems and all the issues therein. So friends, beware, be cautious when you are purchasing something, paying tax to another person, whether you are known to him, can you catch him, can you be certain that he will honor his commitment, and only then claim input tax credit. Because if your input tax credit is denied, what would happen? You will be saddled along with interest. What is the rate of interest? It is 18%. So 18% interest, and if some officer is, wants to punish you, he can start the proceedings under Section 74. And if the proceedings are started under Section 74, what would happen? You will lose the input tax credit because it is barred under Section 17(5). And therefore, this is a double whammy for all of us. That is what you have to see. Then, as if you had seen my first slide, it mentions that the goods / services should have been received. Now, what do you mean by received? Suppose you had some transaction where the goods are stored at some place and the goods remain there, and the transaction rotate between 5 dealers. Transaction rotates between 5 dealers. Whether this is a valid transaction, though you are paying tax, you are reporting in returns, you are paying the value addition tax also on it, but can it be said to be a valid? There are again doubts, because if it is proved that it is a circular trading, it is a trading between 5 companies and the goods are rotating through, and it is only because for the purpose of increase of turnover or for the purpose of, you can say, increase of stocks, for other reasons, for the bank limits, etc., it would fall under the clutches of section 16(2), and again the ITC on those can be denied. Proceedings under section 74 can be initiated, and therefore I again call you, because I am dealing today only with the contentious issue, pointing it out to you all. ITC, I always say, it is the soul, Atma of the GST, and you have to be very, 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 very cautious while dealing with the ITC issues. You have to advise your clients that please, please don't fall into these clutches, these boxes. There are 12 boxes I would be addressing you today. And if you do not fall into these 12 boxes, then you will be running like the bottom man, jumping all the hurdles. Then the excess claim of ITC. What is excess claim? It is the biggest contentious issue. You are aware of the provisions of Rule 36(4). Now, what the Rule 36(4) says? It says that whatever the ITC is reflected in your 2A, you can claim 110% of it. Though you have paid more tax to the sellers, or from whom you had bought the goods. Now, take an example. Suppose you had bought goods and the tax paid by you is 10 lakh rupees. But in the 2A, the value is coming off 6 lakh rupees only. What would happen? How much ITC would you gain? So they say 110. So you will be able to get only 6,60,000 worth of ITC and not 10 lakh rupees what you had paid. Though that because of the insertion of the proviso and because of the COVID pandemic, the government has suspended it up till August 2020, and a reconciliation will have to be submitted in the month of return to you file of the September 2020. And if there is mismatch or cumulative, there is a difference in the cumulative ITC, then you will have to pay that amount at that time along with the return of September 2020. But can you visualize the confusion because of it? Now 2 months are running in the financial year 1920, and thereafter it would be running in 2021. How would you be matching? It is anybody's guess. It is something which we don't foresee. Why this condition is required? It is because the government was not able to fulfill the follow-up of the forms of GSTR 2 and GSTR 3. What we have seen is that because of the failure of the system, because of the failure of the GSTN, because of the failure of Infosys, who could not have given a robust GSTN system, the government had no option. The government had no option but to create hurdles for claiming credit in input tax credit. Now these hurdles, you have to be cautious at every stage. In the example I told you, in the example I gave it to you, suppose there was a credit of 10 lakhs, you should have claimed or you should have got credit of 10 lakhs. But in fact, what you are getting a credit of 6,60,000. There is a shortfall of 3,40,000, and that shortfall you will get it. You will get it later on, but you will get it after a certain time. Now the next issue, time barred return filing. Now this is a mockery of you. Section 16(4) says that if you had not filed the return in the prescribed time within 6 months from the end of the relevant year, you will not be able to get input tax credit. Now for the financial year 17-18, what has happened? People had the time was extended up to 31st March 2019. The return should have been filed for the quarter of January to March, or for the period of March 2019 19 up to 20th October 2019. Some people had filed that at the end of the year, that is after 20th October 2019. The result was all input tax credit claimed in that 3B for the last quarter of the financial year or the last month of the financial year has been denied. Notices has been issued under section 16(4). And friends, what is the remedy? There is no remedy. There is nothing you can do. The only remedy is that you have to challenge it before the Honorable High Courts by way of filing of writ petition under Article 226 of the Constitution. We say that input tax credit is a vested right. We say Article 300A is applicable. We say if input tax credit is legally available, it should not be denied on technicalities. But now there is a clear technicalities. Section 16(4) is a bar. But section 16(4) talks about return under section 39. Whether 3B. Now it is very important to understand, because that is what you will be filing replies before the authority. That is what you will be taking the issue with the authorities. Whether 3B can be considered as a return under section 39? My answer is no. For the simple reason that 39, as at the original stage of GST, visualized GSTR 1, 2 and 3. GSTR 3 could have been considered as a return. There was a judgment of AAP by the Gujarat High Court, though that has been overturned by way of incorporation of amendment in the rules by the central government. But even now, 3B cannot be considered as a return, because whatever ITC you are claiming, it is based on the return filing of your seller. The seller has disclosed those details in GSTR 1 filed by him, and that ITC is available in the credit ledger, available at your portal in your account. So if the ITC, the purchaser details, the seller details are available at the portal in the electronic credit ledger, how can that ITC be denied is anybody's guess. But friends, that is what we are seeing. Again, a major hiccup which is coming and which is affecting all of us. The next issue, non-payment within 180 days, section 16(2) proviso. Now, the act says that if you are purchasing any goods, you have to make a payment within 180 days. If you are not able to make the payment within 180 days, what would happen? The ITC would be reversed. You will be liable to pay the tax along with interest from the day you have claimed the ITC, and as and when you make the payment, you will again be eligible for ITC. Now consider this pandemic situation. We are in a lockdown. We are not able to make the payments. There is a limited banking facility available. What would happen to this 180 days proviso? Whether this 180 days proviso would be applicable for the period which is ending in the month of March, April, May and June? Whether the extension of the limitation as given by the Honorable Supreme Court in its judgment, whether this can be considered as an extension of limitation, though I have my own doubts. But what can be done? If you have to reverse the ITC, suppose you are required to audit for the period 1920 and the payment is not made within 180 days, and those 180 days are falling within the month of March, April, May, June. What would happen? Will you reverse the ITC? Will the interest would be applicable? Anybody's guess, because there is no relaxation by the government. Though government has given many relaxations in the aspect of COVID pandemic, but on this issue, there is no relaxation by the government, and it is something you have to take care. Please get extension, please get some debit note, credit note or working, and it is something you have to understand and do. Now, demand quantified and paid by assessee, rule 36(3). Suppose there is a demand quantified and that is paid by you. If any demand is quantified, again the ITC is denied. This is one of the harshest provision. The second harshest provision is order under section 74. I would be coming to that, but this is the harshest provision. Suppose even if you comply with the demand and you deposit the demand, even on that, as per rule 36(3), you will not claim or you will not be eligible for any ITC. Restrictions under section 75, I do not require to say anything. It is a list of restrictions, and I always say, in ITC, what you have to understand, what you have to learn, you have to learn to remember restrictions under section 17(5) only. All other things are allowed because the words are for furtherance of business. Whatever the words used for claiming ITC are for furtherance of business, it is a wide word, and every eligible ITC, if it is for furtherance of business, it is allowed except for the restrictions mentioned under section 75 and all the hiccups already told to you by me. The next point is order passed under section 74, though it is covered under 17(5). I had pointed it out again because whenever any proceedings are initiated, whenever a notice is issued to you, there are two more methods of issuing of notice. One, a prior notice is issued to you. It is in a form of letter by the GST authorities that we had found that something is missing or there is a fault, default or something, and we request you to comply with it. If you comply with it at that stage, the ITC benefit would be available. But once a notice is issued under section 73 or 74, in 73, if the notice is issued, that is a non-willful default, there is no issue. ITC would be available at that stage also. But if an order has been passed, even if a notice has been issued under section 74, there is a provision in section 74, in section 74, 3 and 5, that you can accept at that stage and then the order would not be passed. But if an order has been passed under section 74, the ITC benefit would not be available, and that is a double whammy, double-edged sword you have to see. And that is what you have to understand, because that is something which impacts the taxation, and it levies the taxation twice the rate. Then exempted supply, that is a general proposition, proportionate disallowance. The proportionate disallowance has to be made, and when you make a proportionate disallowance, this is for the dealers who are doing business in taxable and tax-free goods. If you are doing business in taxable goods only, if you are paying the tax at the output supply, no issue about that. But if you are paying the tax, not paying the tax on certain supplies, which are exempted supplies, and mind it, I am not talking about zero-rated supply. I am not talking about zero-rated supply. Zero-rated supplies are the export supply. I am talking about the exempted supplies. If there are exempted supplies, then you have to reverse the input tax credit available in a proportionate manner, and you have to recompute it as per the provisions given in Rule 42, 43, and 44. And then the funniest part. The concept of GST was that what? Input tax credit would be available and you pay the output tax. Input tax credit for all matters for furtherance of business would be available and you pay the output tax. But then the government, on the whims of certain lobbies, bowed down, came out that for a restaurant, you pay a flat 5% tax and no input tax credit would be available. Now this is a double whammy. This is bad. This is contrary to the basic tenets of GST. You will not be getting any GST on the rent paid. You will not be getting any input tax credit on the raw material purchase. You will not be getting any input tax credit for any services received by you in the restaurant. And upon that, you will be required to pay GST on the outward supply at a flat rate of 5%. Now that has come for the builders also. Now this is something where again you will have to take a restriction, whether you will have to consider what part of things you want to continue, what part of things you do not want to continue. Friends, these restrictions are something which you have to take into consideration and see. Moving on, friends, these 6, I would again go to the previous slide and again come to this slide. These are 12 issues the most contentious issues of the input tax credit you have to consider always, and see whether your client or you are not falling into the clutches of these 12 issues. If you are falling into the clutches of these 12 issues, try to comply with the provisions of law, try to follow the provisions strictly, and then you will be getting the complete benefit of input tax credit. Otherwise, you will not be getting the benefit of input tax credit. Now, this 16.4 thing I had already discussed, and this 36.4, this is I already discussed, but this is very important. Again, you have to see 30%, 10% of the eligible credit would be available. So it would be 110%. Now, this is an example where I had given it to you and I had explained it to you. This provision, though it has been suspended as of now as a COVID pandemic relief by the government of India, and it would be applicable in the month of September 2020 only. You will have to consider lot of writ petitions throughout India in almost every high court has been filed on these two issues, 16.4 and 36.4, challenging the validity and challenging the authority of the central government and the state government, whether these can be said to be constitutionally valid or not, and these are subjective to litigation, but these are issues which will be tested by the courts, and let us wait for the final judgment from the apex court. Until then, the litigation would continue. Now, the last part of the controversial issues of ITC, the blocking of ITC, Rule 86A. This has been recently instituted. Now, this is something which is sort of a provisional attachment. The whims and fancy of an officer can lead it to your business to a halt, can crumble your business, can stop your business, and you have no other option but to file a writ petition again before the High Court, as no authority would consider it. Now, what he says, he has reason to believe. The words are very open and vague. If an officer has reason to believe that the credit has been wrongly availed, tax is not being paid to the government, registered person from which you are taking a credit is non-existent, and is not in a possession of tax invoice, he can block your credit. He can block your complete input tax credit as available in your portal. Now, all these 4 issues, out of these 4 issues, 3 issues are there which are being based on a third person, which are based on the goods from on a dealer from whom you had purchased the goods, which are based on your seller. Now, who has given registration to the seller? It is the department. If the transaction is through account pay checks, what would happen? The department do not verify it. Department do not verify it. The returns are filed. They are again not verified. The tax has been paid by the seller, but his seller has not paid the tax. So what you can do? Can you go, if you want to purchase some goods, can you go and check whether your seller or his seller or his seller or his seller has paid the tax? Is there any mechanism available under the Act, or is there any mechanism? Now, what again I would be taking support, because again this Rule 86A has been challenged in the High Court, in various High Courts. Number of writ petitions in Rajasthan also has been filed by me and other tax lawyers. What you can do? One, we say that the Honorable Supreme Court in Edward case, in Arise India case, Delhi High Court, Punjab and Haryana High Court has said that if there is no collusion proved between 2 dealers and the transaction is a genuine transaction, all the mechanisms as provided in a normal trade has been followed. What is a normal trade? There is a movement of goods, the tax has been paid, the transaction has been routed through banking channels, payment has been made through bank or RTGS. In such a case, when the collusion is not proved, you cannot penalize the buying dealer. You cannot penalize the buying dealer. But in this case, a specific rule has been made by the Government of India under the CGST Act, and that is being followed in the SGST Act. We can say it is not government, it is the GST Council. But alas, what can be done? The sufferer is one. the sufferer is the assessee, and it is on the whims and fancy. We are facing lot of cases where the mastermind was sitting somewhere in Delhi. He has made a claim of chains. He has issued bills, and on the basis of that mastermind, the down the line chain has been suffering, and down the line chain has been suffering. It has been restrictions are for 1 year, but 1 year is a big time in the life of a dealer, and these are some of the reasons which came to my mind, that because of these reasons this has been put up by the government, but these reasons could have been otherwise checked. You have to have a restriction on the giving of registration. You have to have a restriction on verification aspect. You have to have a restriction or duty on your officers to check and verify. But there is no artificial. Your vendor Infosys has failed. Your vendor GSTN is not working, and all the liabilities therefore you are putting on a helpless assessee. You don't have a position. This is the chain of bogus bills. But let us come to the arrest provisions. Arrest. These are the 5 reasons for which the arrest can be made by the authorities. And these are the issues which you have to take into consideration. I am already nearing to my closing time. I would be taking 5-10 minutes more. These are the things which you have to take in consideration. Supply of goods without issue of invoice, issue of fake invoice, tax but fails to deposit for 3 months. The present situation is that the government has extended the time limit for payment of tax up to 30th June in a staggered manner by issue of various notifications. For the dealers who have liability over 5 crores in the previous year, though there is a condition of payment of interest also. But what has happened, there were some reasons. Some auto dealers or some certain kind of dealers were not able to pay the tax, and they fall in the clutches of these 3-month deposit of tax. You have to see and verify these things. Wrongful availment of ITC and collection without intention to deposit, that is again also a killer, or obtains refund of more than 1 crore or a repeat offender. Now, this last issue is very important. You have to consider that this is the last issue, and this is very important to understand. And the limit here can come down from 5 crore to 1 crore. Sometimes we forget that the limit do not come from 5 crore to 1 crore, but this is the last reason, that where the limit comes down to from 5 crore to 1 crore. And you have to understand, collect tax without intention to deposit or claim ITC or obtains refund of more than 1 crore or a repeat offender. If you had claimed a refund of more than 1 crore, you can arrested. The limit of 5 crore in that case would not come to your rescue. Arrest, what is cognizable and non-cognizable as per the provisions of section 69. If the offense is under 132(1) ABCD, it is cognizable and non-bailable, and other offenses are non-cognizable and bailable. Bailable, cognizable and non-cognizable offense are defined, and I had just given you the definition given in the criminal procedure code of these definitions, because normally when we practice on the tax side, we are not aware. Sometimes we are not aware. I will not say always, but sometimes we are not aware what are bailable offense, what are cognizable offense, and what are non-cognizable offense. So I had, for the reference, given it to you. Now, the mode of imprisonment and how much time. This is a chart which is available in the Act. I am not going to discuss much. If it is more than 5 crores, 5-year imprisonment and fine is there, and you have to consider, and it gradually comes down. But again, what you have to see is for repeated offense. If you had been caught in a repeated offense, then again the 5-year imprisonment and fine comes to the picture. Assistance. Sometimes we see, can the GST officials call police or the customs or the railway officers or the village officers? Yes, that is a special provision, and this is something which we have to discuss time and again. Suppose a summon has been issued. Well, in the first part of my lecture, in the last week, I had discussed the summons in detail with you. But this is again only for a note, because when we are talking about arrest, we have to see whether what we are doing, whether we are recording to summons, we are replying to summons, and we have to be very careful in replying to the summons and notices, and always be cooperative with the department. Try to appear before the department, try to submit your document, try to submit all documents you want to rely. What we have a habit in the VAT or sales tax matters, we were in a habit of giving simple half-page cursorily reply without any annexures, without any documents. Make a change in your habit. Make it as a paper book. Give all the supporting documents, either in an electronic form, because now the authorities are taking it in the electronic form also, or in the paper form, and try to obtain a receipt of it. Then you have to take care when you are called for statements, because that is the time normally when an arrest is made. So be cautious when you are being called for statements. Either arrest can be made at the time of survey or search at your premises, or when you go for the statement. Now that is the time you have to take care, you have to be vigilant, you have to support all the documents, you have to become clear with your defense, and go always before consult, and you have to consult a lawyer. In the statement, what I had repeated earlier, your lawyer, your chartered accountant, your tax practitioner is not allowed. The authority has a discretion to take your statement alone, and he can ask your consultant, lawyer, chartered accountant, advocate to sit outside. But that is something you have to consider. You prepare yourself before going for the statement, and that is very important. Arrest, if it has been made, then you have to go for the bail. Now there are 3 modes. I would be discussing those modes. There is a regular bail application which you can file, and there is an anticipatory bail application which you can file. Suppose there is a survey and you are not at the business premises. Suppose there is a violation which has been discovered of more than 5 crores. There is all likelihood of arrest. What you can do? You have an option to move a anticipatory bail application under section 438 of the Criminal Procedure Code. And what you where the application is to be made? Normally, as per practice, it has to be made before a session judge or a DJ court. And then if it is allowed, then it is no question. But if it is not allowed, then you can move before the High Court. But there is no bar as such. There is no bar as such, because both the courts are mentioned. You can directly go to the High Court, but normally the High Court also wants that first you go to the session court and then come to the High Court. In case you are arrested, then the first application under 437 would be moved before the municipal magistrate, then to the session judge, and then to the High Court under section 439. And the High Court may take its own time giving you the bail, subject to the various conditions available and the facts and circumstances of each case. So, but here also again, be cautious, be ready with the paperwork, be ready with the documentation, and be on the right side of the law. Try not to get a circumvention manner. Try not to be on the wrong side of the law and claim ITC as per law only, and don't take other options. These are some of the judgments which, with concluding, I would like to again refer Sapna Jain judgment, wherein the Honorable Supreme Court has given directions almost to the all High Court as an advisory that in case of GST matters, anticipatory bail as a routine should not be granted in a routine manner, and there should be circumstances that should be mentioned. Jayachandran Alloys is a judgment given by Madras High Court, a very fantastic judgment which has discussed the provisions of the CRPC, and they had said that without inquiry, arrest cannot be made. That is a very fantastic judgment, though it is under challenge before the Supreme Court. But again, a fantastic judgment, wherein the Honorable Judge said that On presumption, you cannot arrest anybody. You have not made any inquiry. You call him for a statement and you arrest him only on presumption. That is not right, and that is not in accordance with the provisions of CRPC. And whether the provisions of CRPC would apply on the GST provisions or not, that is something which has been in detail discussed in this judgment. C. Pradeep judgment of the Supreme Court. Herein the Supreme Court has granted the bail, anticipatory bail on certain conditions. Another fantastic judgment, and the judgment of the Honorable Rajasthan High Court, again in favor of the assessee in Rakesh Kumar Khandelwal's case, which is you have to see. You have to see, because it is after arrest, and the person here in this case was arrested for almost 2 months. But he was a manager and his directors were granted bail by the Honorable Supreme Court directly. On these basis, on these circumstances, the Honorable Rajasthan High Court has granted bail. The question also comes whether the limit of 5 crores of tax evasion, can it be breached? Suppose there was a case when the alleged tax evasion was 7 crore. Suppose you deposited 3 crores at the spot. Whether it would, the limit would not of 5 crore would be touched in that case or not, because the disputed tax comes to 4 crores only. This is something which has also been considered in this judgment, and a very important judgment for your reference at all places, because these are some of the cases where arrest is being made. This is a Gujarat High Court judgment which you want to refer. Again, an anticipatory bail was given. And this is a contrary judgment. I am taking both views. This is a contrary judgment of the Rajasthan High Court, where in the case of Bharatraj Kunj, the bail was denied and the Honorable Judge made very stringent comments on the evasion of tax or non-allowability or the fraudulent claim of the ITC. Himani Munjal case, again, it is a case of a lady professional, a lady chartered accountant, wherein the bail has been granted by the Honorable Rajasthan High Court at the principal seat at Jodhpur. Again, a very good judgment. And sometimes what we had seen nowadays, the department is taking an attack directly on the professionals also. In all cases wherein these ITC matters are there, normally it is being asked to the client, where are the books of accounts or where are the information, and he simply says that the books of accounts or other details are with our consultant, tax practitioner, CA or advocate. And in such circumstances, what happens? The department officials comes to the office of the professional, tax professional advocate and search. That is wrong. How can a professional be involved in such things? That is something which we have to see. And again, a fantastic judgment by the High Court of Punjab and Haryana on this thing, where the Honorable High Court has given categorical comments and categorical remarks that the arrest of a chartered accountant or advocate who are simply filing the returns or taking registration on behalf of the client and working on the instructions of the client, and they are not in collusion with the client, they cannot be arrested by the tax officials. A very welcome judgment and a very latest judgment by the Honorable High Court of Punjab and Haryana, and a judgment which you should all be aware about. Friends, this is something, again, a Paridhi Jain judgment of the Rajasthan High Court relating to a lady chartered accountant, wherein the bail has been given by the Rajasthan High Court. Again, a very good judgment for your reference. The question is, friends, I'm sorry I had exceeded my time by 10 minutes, but this is something in the last session I was not able to cover my topic, and again, this is something which you should be aware. We, in case of ITC, because all these arrests, all these working are made in the case of ITC, we have to be very, very cautious. We have to be vigilant not by us, vigilant in guarding us, and not taking much time, because then I would be answering the queries also. I'd already exceeded my time, and as a convener of this session, I should also follow the rules. The rules do apply to me, and therefore, friends, it is your love and affection which makes us going. It is your love and affection through your participation, through your messages, through your letters, through your mails, that has keep us going day in, day out. And your love and affection is showing that today we had crossed 800 participants. Today we had crossed at one time 800 participants, and I am seeing on my screen at present also we are almost 775 participants from all over India. It is the popularity of our chairman, Honorable Mr. S.D. Sanjay Saab. His presence has added glamour to this webinar. His presence has added importance to this seminar, and we had been joined by all professionals, east, west, north, south, central. And thank you all for giving me this opportunity. We will be discussing all your queries, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, All India Federation of Tax Practitioners. And thank you, Chairman Sir, for accepting my request and being here at my request. With this, I conclude my remarks. Thank you, everybody.
Before I invite our today's session chairman SD Sanjay Sahab, I give a hats off to our great speaker Pankaj Ghiaji because of his good command over the GST. He is the encyclopedia of GST. We had crossed 800 marks today, and thanks to all participants, because of whom we are regularly crossing the landmark marks every day. So thanks a lot to all of you, and thanks again to Pankaj Ghiaji, who has deliberated his topic in such a nice manner, such a complicated topic in such a simple way. So before we take up the queries, I first of all invite our today's session chairman to give his concluding remarks. Respected SD Sanjay Saab, welcome.
Friends, really I admire Pankaj Ghiaji. He has given such an illuminating speech and explained various provisions of input tax credit and provision of arrest under the GST law that it was really a session of learning for me as well. Of course, I had been practicing in indirect tax laws, but since 2015, when I became Additional Solicitor General, virtually I had become out of touch. It is only the GST that has again brought back me in the field, and I have to appear in cases for the government in GST. Friends, it's true that there has been certain provisions under the input tax in the GST Act, due to which some people or dealers have to face hardship, no doubt. But at the same time, you will appreciate that at times, because of some people, some dealers who always try to know some loophole and try to use those loophole to defeat the provision of the Act. And therefore, every government is compelled to take such measures in the legislation that they are trying to see that there is no loophole left. So therefore, there are certain harsh provisions. One thing I would like to tell you that even in GSTN, now friends, we are here in this session from all over the country. Now, I will also tell to Pankaj Ghiaji that please forward me some specific instances where we need some changes in the provision. Fortunately, I enjoy a very good relation with the GSTN chairman and the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. He is also a very knowledgeable person in taxing law, and he is the finance minister also. And he was also, you will remember, the chairman of Empowered Committee. So if you bring some specific instances to me, I will definitely bring to his notice, and we will try from the government level to resolve at least some of the issues. We will try. And Mr. Rastogi ji is also there. So if all of us try to see that if some hardship can be reduced at some places, then we will definitely try. Friends, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to have this session and to learn many things from this session, because on many issues which has been enlightened by Pankaj Giaji, I have also been really benefited. I thank you again to All India Federation of Tax Practitioners, its president, all the office bearers for this session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rajesh bhai, now I would be taking
Yes, sir.
directly the queries for the reason that the control is with me.
Yes, sir.
And it would be easier for me to
Yes, sir.
name the persons and ask for the query. Chairman, sir, I would take the privilege of requesting you to stay for 15 minutes more.
Sure, I am here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I would be taking the queries and request all the queries that be fast and crisp in the queries. The first is from Madan Agarwal. Mr. Madan Agarwal, if you are there. Mr. Mohammed Mateen. Mr. Mohammed Mateen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Query.
No,
Good
I have
morning.
query. I am enjoying your session.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. Mr. Pankaj Shah. Mr. Pankaj Shah. तुम म्यूट कर दो. CA Rasik Chauhan.
Good morning, sir. My query is,
Yes.
X having a credential, Y want to take a mining contract, but not eligible. So X and Y make a JV contract, where Y having a 95% and controlling power.
Yes.
JV got a contract from company, and Y contract to his proprietorship firm at 98% of work.
Yes.
Now JV has received billing to the proprietorship to JV.
Okay.
Now company pay all the amount to subcontractor, but the subcontractor has deposited only 2 crores rupees of ITC, GST liability. Now JV received a JV partner has received a someone from the department. So what will be happen? And we have also
that is what, yeah, Rasikji, I got your query. That is what I had warned you. That is now the department go back into the chain of your seller, his seller, his seller, and his seller. So you have to be very cautious. If your subcontractor has not deposited the tax,
No, sorry, sir, I am a JV partner and having only 5% liability, 5% sharing. So what is our liability in that case?
if you are a JV partner, 5% liability, but it is a joint and several liability. You
Yes.
see, like a partnership deed. JV is like a partnership deed, and it is a joint and several liability. Though you must be having a 5% stake. It is not liability. It is a stake. But for the purpose of tax laws, you are joint and severally responsible. So you are responsible for 100% demand if created by the tax department.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Ranjit Kushwaha. Ranjit Kushwaha. My treasurer, AFTP treasurer, my friend Chirag Parekh.
Yes, Pankaj ji.
Arey Chirag bhai, you are wizard in yourself.
Arey, not at all. You are encyclopedia, as Rajesh bhai said. Anyway, quick on to the query. Pankaj ji, it is being observed many a times that whenever the department officers are coming to visit investigation department, they by hook or crook calculate the liability of 5 crores.
Yes.
So the question, 5 crores, first of all, is principal tax or interest?
It is principal tax.
Acha, principal tax. Okay, thank you. Then again, going to further, that if they have calculated the liability 5 crores, so first of all, whether they have to prove it or they can just intimate these are the liabilities and they can issue arrest.
That is what I told you. One is section 86A, and proving is not necessary. If they say that there is a possible evasion of more than 5 crores, they can take you for arrest. And then in the statements or by submission of paper book, you have to prove.
Okay, okay. You can take another query. My next query is not that much important, no problem.
Yogesh Sethia. Yogesh Sethia, are you there? Okay. Narendra Mittal.
Yes. Congratulations,
Narendra.
Congratulations, Pankaj ji, for the wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My query is that one person from Jaipur has received summons from Delhi Like this is summons are in respect of some fake invoices issued by some Delhi group. And
Yes.
this Jaipur person has done some purchases in the financial year ending 19 and this financial year also. Both the years he has done. For 19, they have all the returns have already been filed. Input tax credit has been claimed. So now, what is the recourse available to him?
That is a wonderful query, Naren bhai. I missed that point. Now that is another harassment which all the dealers are facing. If you are a person or a dealer who is purchasing from various parts of India, say suppose you are living in Delhi or you are a dealer in Delhi and you are purchasing goods from Assam, you are purchasing from Kanyakumari, you are purchasing from Patna, you are purchasing from Jaipur. And if some of the authority finds that your seller or buyer is fake, that authority can issue you a notice, and you have to issue you a summon under section 70, and you have to go and appear before that authority unless you satisfy him by sending of the documents. So if you are in your query, Naren bhai, you had received a summon or notice from the Delhi authority and you have no other option but to what you can try always, try to talk him on phone, get his email address, send your reply and documents by email and hard copy by speed post. And even if then he is not satisfied, then you have to appear before that authority at Delhi.
Okay, no, but that is true. But if the SSA himself accept that these are some fake invoices, actually he had taken some accommodation bills. So what is the best recourse available to him?
Best recourse is that if he knows that it is accommodation bills, it is better to deposit tax and interest immediately and to try not that proceedings under section 74 are not initiated. It is always better to deposit tax, interest and nominal penalty. Sometimes the authorities are asking for 15% penalty. So it is better to deposit the same and buy peace and to be on the correct side of the law.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Prabhu Dodwani.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir,
Sir, my query is one of my associates supplies exempted goods, but unfortunately, he has paid the tax under RCM on rent paid commercial building. Can he apply for the refund under that?
He has paid RCM on the rent paid.
Commercial building. Rent paid on commercial building.
But he is dealing in exempted goods.
Yes, sir.
If you are dealing in exempted goods, but then the commercial rent is not exempt. If your turnover, if you are a registered dealer, because in that case that is a service, and if it is covered under RCM, you are liable to pay the tax.
Sir, in RCM, RCM has been. I'm not getting you, sir.
See, for the purpose of RCM, payment of rent is not a reverse charge mechanism, but it is a forward charge. You had wrongly paid the tax under RCM, but had you paid the tax on the forward charge on the rent bills received in the RCM, or your landlord is not liable to GST?
Sir,
what you can do is, Prabhuji, if you had paid wrong tax, if you had paid wrong tax, you can correct it in the annual return you file. But as far as the liability of the rent is there is a clear-cut tax liability on the commercial rent. But it depends on the taxability of the landlord. If the landlord total receipts is less than 20 lakhs and he had not taken voluntary registration, then there is no liability to tax. Okay. Mukesh Kuria.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है इन ये एक्चुअल हम लोगों को बहुत नोटिसेस आ रहे हैं रिगार्डिंग इनएडमिसिबल क्रेडिट अवेल्ड इन वायलेशन ऑफ प्रोविजन ऑफ सेक्शन 16(4).
यस,
तो मेरा जानना ये है सर, द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है कि वेदर 16(2) supersedes section 16(4) or not.
See, 16(2) supersedes 16(4), but it stands with notwithstanding clause.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, na? That is your contention, and what you are taking or thinking is absolutely right. It starts with a non-obstante clause, and I already had taken the same defense when I had filed the writ petition in the High Court. What you can also say is that returns under section 39 mentioned in section 16(4) do not refer to return under GSTR 3B. 3B is not a return. And you can always also challenge that the amendment made is a prospective amendment that has been made in the month of October 2019 only, saying that GSTR 3B is a return under section 39. And that cannot be applied retrospectively for the retrospective period. That that amendment is always a prospective amendment. And the fourth defense, what you can take is that your seller has already reported these transactions in GSTR 1 when he was filing the return, and
Yes, exactly.
that amount is reflected in the electronic credit ledger of yours. So it is already reported. So there is no question of non-reporting, and therefore 16(4) is not applied. But in all, unless the government comes out with a relief, you will have to challenge the same before the High Court by way of a writ petition. That is the only remedy.
Yeah, sir, that is exactly, you are right in that sense, that from whom I have purchased, my ITC is reflecting.
That is right.
Okay,
Mr.
sir, thank you. Thank you very much.
Ravi Shankar AV. Mr. Ravi Shankar AV.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is a query regarding ITC on URD purchases. See, earlier, the SSC was paying RCM on URD purchases. Subsequently, the amendment regarding 9.3 and 9.4, and there was a confusion between 9.3 and 9.4 for a long period of time. During the period, RCM was removed also on URD purchases. My client has RCM on URD purchase and claimed the ITC. Can we claim what claim we have made as ITC? Is it right, and it will not ITC will not be disallowed? Because if ITC is disallowed, then he must pay the tax along with interest and claim it back as refund. And for the SSC to having been paid a tax which was earlier there, and because of the amendments and confusion that was there in 1718 and 1819, he continued to pay it on the URD RCM under URD purchase. So what best method would you suggest, sir?
See, what you can do is you can claim it not as an RCM, but you can claim it as a cash deposit, because the deposit has been made and it is reflected in your cash ledger. Okay. So as far as the payment of tax is concerned, the credit has been made by you, and on the basis of that credit, you have claimed in RCM or the tax payment. So my suggestion, yes.
We have claimed ITC towards the tax liability, because
it doesn't matter if ITC is denied. If ITC is denied, that amount is paid in your cash ledger. So RCM is also not applicable.
Yes, sir.
So what you can do is, when you file the audit report, you put a thing and claim it as a cash deposit and reduce the concept of ITC, or reduce the RCM liability and the ITC. The interest liability may not be there. It is a fightable case. Interest liability may not be there because of the recent clarification that on the net liability only interest would be levied, and that credit of tax paid is already reflected in your cash ledger. Therefore, my view is that though you had wrongly paid or wrongly credited in the wrong head under RCM, but the amount has been paid by you, and you can very well claim the credit of the same without any further liability.
So, but the cash has already been paid and used for set off of our output tax liability. So can I just leave it there, telling that my ITC claimed, which RCM was paid, is right?
Then if the cash deposited has been claimed, then it would be difficult, and you would be liable to for the additional tax and interest.
But the RCM has already been paid, no, sir?
That RCM has to be paid in cash, na?
Yeah, I guess.
That is what I am telling you. It can be reverse the entry of RCM and deposit it as a cash deposit. Treat it as a cash deposit, no interest. Okay, Suryakant Mishra.
Sir, good morning.
Yes.
सर, हमारे क्लाइंट्स गवर्नमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स हैं सर, और इन गवर्नमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को सर डिपार्टमेंट जो एग्रीमेंट इनके जीएसटी रिजीम के पहले हैं, उनमें कोई भी डिपार्टमेंट इनको जीएसटी दे नहीं रहा है। वो सब एक पेपर में लिख के दे रहे हैं कि तो आपका एग्रीमेंट उसके पहले के है, इसलिए हम इसमें आपको जीएसटी नहीं देंगे। उन क्लाइंट्स के लिए सर हम क्या करें, और अमाउंट्स बड़े बड़े हो जाते हैं।
देखिए, आपको गवर्नमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को देखना पड़ेगा, उनमें एस्केलेशन क्लॉज होते हैं। इफ देयर इज एन एस्केलेशन क्लॉज इन द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, then you invoke that escalation clause and send a notice. If there is some clause that in case of any future taxes, the future taxes would be paid, you invoke that clause and claim the benefit. But if it is mentioned in the contract agreement that it is inclusive of all taxes, inclusive of present taxes and the future taxes, then you have no such option, and then you will have to bear. And then what you can do is always try to send a letter to the authority asking them to review or escalate the clause, and if there is a denial, then challenge it before the High Court by way of a writ petition.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Vijay Kumar.
V.S. Jayakumar from Chennai.
V.S. Jayakumar, sorry.
You did a good job, Mr. Very nice this thing. My only suggestion for 16.2 ITC reversal for extension of time. You said the Supreme Court clarification is may not be adequate, and you also suggested a way out raising a debit note or credit note, whatever. But considering the arrest provision being very stringent, should I request AIFTP to move the Supreme Court, get it specifically clarified, so that each zones, for example, or each assisting officer will not take a different view?
Very good suggestion, Mr. V.S. Jayakumar.
Yes,
and that is what I wanted, because this 180 days hurdle would create a lot of problem for everybody. And I think I would pass on your suggestion to the hierarchy in the AIFTP. And try to get the suggestion.
Number two is this ITC is my money with the department.
Yes.
How I address this is my concern. How they address this is their own appropriation. Should they not give a liberal interpretation, and prosecution should be very lenient, exceptional?
Sir, we always want that, but that is the contrary with the falling revenues. And the
But
government.
you are the judge, you will definitely agree with me.
I would always agree with you because I am on the client side.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
very nice.
Mr. Nagaraj.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and continue to join with us.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Nagaraj.
Sir, I have purchased some goods and services from one vendor where he has not filed any return on that sales. So can I get the input credit, or it is how it is?
No. If your seller has not filed any return, you will not get input tax credit. It is an additional liability for you.
And he has already closed his shop also. So in that case,
You
also
are at a loss. File an FIR against him. File an FIR with the police authorities against him for fraud and invoke the provisions of 406, 420 of the IPC.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
CA Sanjeev Mishra, I'd already talked, I think.
नहीं सर नहीं।
हेलो सॉरी, हाँ संजीव जी बोलिए।
सर मेरा सिर्फ एक क्वेश्चन यही था कि जब 36(4) के अंदर डिपार्टमेंट कह रहा है कि 10% आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा, जो 2A में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है, लेकिन जो 2A के अंदर अगर अपन उसको डाउनलोड करते हैं तो हर दिन वो चेंज होता हुआ आता है, तो कैसे कैलकुलेट होगा? डिपार्टमेंट के एक मैकेनिज्म जो फेलियर है इन्फोसिस
नहीं, वो कट ऑफ डेट बनी जाएगी, उसकी 11 तारीख कट ऑफ डेट होती है,
लेकिन वो जब आप 20 तारीख को निकालो तो 11 तारीख वाला निकलता ही नहीं है वो।
हाँ, तो वो आपको नेक्स्ट वाले में एडजस्ट करेंगे उसको।
तो इसमें मेरा कहना है सर कि मैकेनिज्म के फेलियर के लिए एसएससी लायबल क्यों है, जबकि 86A के अंदर डिपार्टमेंटल ऑफिसर के रीजन।
आई एग्री सर, आई एग्री इसी
लोग रिस्पांसिबल हो रहे हैं।
आई एग्री,
कर सकते हैं कि ऑफिसर भी रिस्पांसिबल हो जिससे इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम नहीं आए।
डेफिनेटली सर, आई एग्री विथ यू and I am also angry like you, and that is the reasons, that is the grounds we had taken in the writ petition before the High Court. You are absolutely correct what you are saying.
कहीं से भी सामान आ जाते हैं ऑल इंडिया से, और उसमें प्रॉब्लम होती है सर एसएससी को, तो उसमें कम से कम उनका रिस्पांसिबिलिटी क्लॉज तो आए ऑफिसर के ऊपर।
सर थोड़ा सा लाइटर मोड में मैं कहूँ क्या, मिश्रा जी थोड़ा सा लाइटर मोड में भी सुनिए, अगर ये सम्मान नहीं आएंगे तो एसएससी हमारे पास नहीं आएगा, ठीक है? चलिए, that was not my intention, that was only to have a laugher, because I always say when we discuss tax is a very boring subject, so we should have some laughers in between. Okay. Now I would request Mr. Ketan.
Hello. हाँ, आवाज सुनाई दे रही है सर?
हाँ जी सर, बोलिए।
सर एक क्वेश्चन ये था कि मेरे क्लाइंट्स को 3 से 4 लाख का रुपए का एक गुड्स रिसीव हुआ है विच टैक्स इनवॉइस बट विदाउट ई वे बिल। तो अब सर क्या करें? क्या इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट पर कोई इफेक्ट पड़ेगा?
नहीं पड़ेगा। अगर आप इफ यू आर having a tax invoice and it is reflected in GSTR1 by the seller and it is coming in 2A, then you will be eligible to claim input tax credit.
Oh, thank you sir.
Thank you. Mr. Abhishek Oswal.
हाँ पंकज जी, good morning to everyone and
क्या
thank you
हाल
for
है
the
अभिषेक जी?
session.
Yes, sir.
I have two queries. First is regarding the bail. Like the Supreme Court has categorically held that the High Courts, while entertaining the request in future, will keep in mind the judgment of this Ramanna case.
Yes.
PV Ramanna Reddy. So as on date, what is the law? What stands?
No, in spite of it, some of the high courts in exceptional circumstances are granting anticipatory bail, and it is always better to try for the anticipatory bail rather than be arrested and then go for the regular.
And proper remedy would be first to approach the district court, then go to the high court.
That is particularly in Rajasthan, that is the practice.
Okay. And second query is regarding the 2A, like what the sellers are maximum doing, that they are collecting from the purchaser tax and not depositing, and it is not reflecting in 2A. And as per the government notification, only 10% would be allowed. So my suggestion would be like if a representation could be made by the FTP to the council, GST council, like this is a very harsh version, like we have to pay twice tax on the same amount, one to the seller and other to the government also. So
Yeah,
this
that
is
is
a very
right. We had
draconian
already made representation, Abhishek ji, and even writ petition has been filed before the court. Because of this pandemic, those writ petitions could not come up for hearing, and that is a problem for us. Now we will be waiting. Mr. Sridhara Parthasarthi.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sridhara Parthasarthi.
नमस्ते सर, नमस्ते भैया।
पार्थसारथी जी की जय हो, बोलो सर।
सर मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेरी है सर। सर मेरे को 15 इंस्टॉलमेंट में होलसेलर ने मेरे को दिया है, इंस्टॉलमेंट में रेफ्रिजरेटर सेल करके वैसा ही देव करके, वो तो 15 इंस्टॉलमेंट में अगर मैं रीपेमेंट किया तो फिर मेरा इनपुट का हालत क्या होता है सर?
देखिए, वो इंस्टॉलमेंट में दिया है, दैट बिकम्स अ लोन ट्रांजैक्शन एज फार एज द होलसेलर इज कंसर्न्ड.
हाँ सर.
It 100% revenue has been booked by him, and the installments mentioned by him is as a loan transaction. So in that case, the rider of 16(2) may not attract.
सर इसमें राइडर ऑफ 16(2)(d) नहीं आएगा सर हमारे को इंस्टॉलमेंट में?
That is what, treat it as a loan transaction. If the entry is made that you received full amount and then
no sir, we cannot write like that. We will write it as it is. The ledger will be maintained according to what actually the installments are received.
Then the proportionate credit has to be claimed.
Sir.
Advocate Navi Sharma.
Yes, sir. Sir, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is, while the statement is being recorded by the proper officer, nobody is allowed, that is advocate, CEO, or any other consultant.
Yes.
Sir, my question is that if the dealer is not able to, due to some injury or disease, have there any provision in the law, sir?
Yeah, you can go and file adjournment. The advocate has a right, advocate, chartered accountant, or the authorized secretary has a right to appear and file adjournment, and normally 3 adjournments are given. So up to 3 adjournments, and you have to submit the medical certificate if it is by way of sickness or something.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And they are giving adjournment. That is not an issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Kundan Gupta. Kundan Gupta.
Hello.
Next. हाँ सर, कुंदन जी बताइए.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Morning, Kundan ji. Morning.
How are you, sir? Sir, I have received some client has received someone under Section 70 of the Central Tax Act.
Yes.
Central CGST tax.
Yes.
And there is some investigation about generating fake invoice from some dealer.
Yes.
And my question is, can I wait for? We have submitted all the necessary documents.
Yes.
Which he has demanded.
Yes.
And can I wait for assessment proceeding, or can I deposit voluntary tax?
See, if you had received a summon, summon is under Section 70. And he must have mentioned to discuss about the detail of measure so and so and to tender a statement.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
So once these summons are issued, if you voluntarily deposit the tax amount along with interest, normally the proceedings are closed by the officer, proper officer at that time. So it depends upon you. And that was the query raised by Mr. Narendra Mittal also. I had replied at that time. Maybe a penalty of 15% may also be levied on you.
Okay, then what I can do, sir, right now?
Right now, go to the authority, say that I am willing to deposit the amount and without accepting any guilt, but I am willing to deposit the amount. Don't accept the guilt. If you accept the guilt, it may create a problem with the income tax authorities or the ED or in other law. So whenever you admit or deposit the amount, always take a caution not to admit it as a fake bill, or not to admit that you have not received the goods, or not to admit that you had received only the bills, or you are dealing in the bills. You are purchasing a bill from A person and you are purchasing the good from B person. Don't admit those things. But normally the dealer should not do those things also. That is something. Do go and accept whatever is actual out there and deposit the tax, interest and the applicable penalty, and it is always better to be on the right side of the law.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. TL Jain.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jain sir.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि हमारे एक क्लाइंट के केस में आईटीसी ब्लॉक कर दी डिपार्टमेंट ने विदाउट गिवन एनी नोटिस. इज इट वैलिड और नॉट?
That is what I referred to Rule 86A. They must have some reasons. File an application, ask them the reasons, and try to settle those reasons. If the reasons are satisfied, then the proper officer can unblock your ITC also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rohit Kumar.
जी नमस्कार सर, मेरा प्रश्न है.
Yes.
सीमेंट के एक ट्रेडर है सर, वो परचेज करते हैं 100 रुपए का बैग.
Yes.
और सेल करते हैं 98 रुपीज का.
Yes.
साल बाद उनको 3 रुपए का क्रेडिट नोट आ जाता है विदाउट टैक्स. तो साल बाद उनका आईटीसी एक्यूमुलेट हो ही जा रहा है. 3 साल में 10 लाख हो गया सर. उस आईटीसी का क्या करें? रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा हमें
उसका रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा. और अभी तो उसमें एक क्वेश्चन और आ सकता है. It is a volume discount or a price rate difference or a turnover discount. So the authority can issue you a notice saying that it is a service provided by the distributor to the manufacturer. In case of electronic goods, already such notices has been issued, and you have to refer to a circular of March 2019 in case of sales promotions, which was further added by June 2019 circular. And that circular was withdrawn, June 19 circular was withdrawn in October 2019. So if you refer to those circulars, you are in a big problem if they take your case. Otherwise, what you can do is you can always start trading in a commodity which is high tax rate. Mr. Anil Vakharia.
Sir, thank you for a very knowledgeable session.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Thank you for of you being here.
Sir, my question is, can the ITC claimer take the shelter of the promises made by the Attorney General in the case of Mahalakshmi Cotton Mills in Bombay High Court, that they will first chase the seller and then come to the purchaser, and whether the purchaser can demand that you issue the summons to the seller first, and then you come to me for rejection of ITC.
Sir, Mahalakshmi Cotton Mills case is a wonderful case, though the SLP was dismissed by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Though at the end, fag end, they had distinguished the Gherumal Balchand judgment of the Punjab and Haryana High Court. Punjab and Haryana High Court judgment was directly in favor of the assessee. And Mahalakshmi case, on the assurance of the Advocate General, the court dismissed the petition filed by the assessee. But you can always file a petition seeking before the court saying that the department is not following the obiter and dicta mentioned in the judgment, and you can take the support from there and move on.
Even in GST, sir.
Even in GST, I have doubt in GST, because in GST those litigations would arise we are already going into those litigations. It would be anybody's guess. But unless the litigation is there, we cannot foresee what type of judgment would come from the High Court.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Amrik Singh Malhotra, you have to unlock yourself. Amrik Singh Malhotra.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Your query.
Sir, my query is, in case of default by the firm, whether all partners can be arrested or only the partner who manages the affairs of the firm will be arrested?
Sir, again, it is something, a discretionary thing. Suppose all partners say that Mr. Pankaj Gia was the only partner who was handling the affair, and they give it in a statement. Then Mr. Pankaj Gia could be arrested, and that again would be a discretion, because if it is a partnership firm, it is a joint and several liability. And further, you have to say that if there was division of duties between the partners, then that has to be proved, and again that comes within the discretion of the authority. But normally, in all cases, the statement which comes out is, it is better to get one person arrested rather than getting all person arrested.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr. K.K. Khandelwal. Mr.
Hello.
K.K. Khandelwal.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir, Utkarsh Khandelwal here.
Utkarsh, kya haal? How are you?
Ekdam badhiya, sir. Sir,
Yes.
my question is, so there was a departmental GST audit conducted on one of our clients, and in that audit, it was observed that RCM on cotton was not paid. The client was dealing as a commission agent in that year and did couple of transactions. Now the question is, can we pay that RCM now and claim that credit? This audit was conducted for 17-18.
Again, the question 16.4 rider would come into picture, and further the other riders that are up to a particular period, the input tax credit can be claimed. That would come into picture. What I would suggest is go into RCM, pay the amount, and try to claim the credit if the amount is substantial. Again, we will have to wait for some relaxation from the government, or we have to file petition before the court. Mr. Vikas Mittal. Mr. Vikas Mittal. Mr. Rajendra Sudhani. Mr. Rajendra Sudhani.
Yes, sir.
हाँ बोलिए राजन जी.
नमस्कार पंकज भाई.
Yes, sir.
Can we go for immunity for penalty and interest?
Immunity? No, there is no provision. Immunity is only if you act fast, act before the order is passed under section 73 or 74, pay the tax, interest and part of the penalty as provided under section 73, 3 and 5 and 74, 3 and 5, and take benefit out there. At present, there is no other option available.
Okay.
Mr. Sanjay Kapoor. Mr. Sanjay Kapoor.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
If the payment is made a supplier after 180 days, will ITC be reversed from the accumulated ITC of that month, or it is our liability to pay the same in cash?
It is your liability, and it is your liability, and you have to pay interest also in cash. That one.
In cash. Okay. Thank you. And then reverse.
Friends, we are already crossing 11:30, and I have a lot more queries pending. What I would do is I would be taking 3 more queries now, and then closing off. I would be taking Mr. Abhishek Podar. Abhishek Podar.
नमस्ते सर.
Yes sir, बोलिए.
सर मेरे क्लाइंट है सर, वो इंडिविजुअल ट्रक ऑपरेटर्स को फ्राइट का पेमेंट करते हैं, तो सर वो जीटीए को पेमेंट नहीं करते हैं, तो आरसीएम सर एप्लीकेबल होगा क्या?
नहीं, देखिए उसमें 2 चीजें हैं, या तो आप जीटीए हो या नहीं हो. अगर आप इंडिविजुअल टैक्स कर रहे हो, इंडिविजुअल ऑपरेटर को पेमेंट कर रहे हो, in that case if it is not GTA, then RCM is not applicable. RCM is applicable if you treat it as a GTA, and in such cases you will have to pay the tax. at the rate of 5%.
एडवांस रूलिंग भी आई हुई है सर, इस पे एडवांस रूलिंग एडवर्स आई थी कि पेमेंट तो
एडवांस रूलिंग तो ऐसी है, आप कुछ भी पूछ लो, वो आप डिपार्टमेंट के फेवर की बात करते हैं। अभी 2 दिन पहले एक एडवांस रूलिंग आई है कि सब लीजिंग पे भी जीएसटी लगेगा और सब पे लगेगा। तो देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच आर देयर, वी शुड नॉट फॉलो दोस थिंग्स। मिस्टर सीए रवि सर,
एक क्वेरी और थी सर। सर इंपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स करता है सर एक क्लाइंट, और कस्टम अथॉरिटी सर उसका वैल्यूएशन हाई प्राइस पे करती है, तो सर उसके आईटीसी एक्यूमुलेट हो जाती है, तो सर वो रिफंड के लिए एलिजिबल है क्या, क्योंकि गुड्स इंडिया में कम प्राइस पे सेल होता है?
नहीं, इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है ये, और एक्सपोर्ट नहीं है। रिफंड 2 ही केसेस में मिल सकता है, इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी स्ट्रक्चर और एक्सपोर्ट। सो ये दोनों केसेस में फॉल नहीं करता, इसलिए आपको नहीं मिलेगा।
थैंक यू सर।
सीए रवीश अग्रवाल।
हेलो सर, गुड मॉर्निंग।
मॉर्निंग
सर, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने इतना बढ़िया सेशन ऑर्गेनाइज किया और हम लोगों का नॉलेज इनरिचमेंट किया। मेरी 2 क्वेरी है
सर।
सर पहली क्वेरी है कि डीलर ने जो है आरसीएम ऑन ट्रांसपोर्ट जो है वो फाइनेंशियल ईयर 18-19 में पेड नहीं किया, और लेकिन वो फिर जो है विद इन 6 मंथ में वो आफ्टर मार्च ईयर एंड वो आरसीएम पेड भी कर लेता है और इनपुट भी क्लेम कर लेता है 3B के थ्रू। अब वो जीएसटीआर 9 में वो आरसीएम पेमेंट का और इनपुट का प्रेजेंटेशन कैसे करे?
जीएसटीआर 9 में तो उसको रिकॉन्सिलेशन में जाना पड़ेगा ना, जीएसटीआर 9C में।
हाँ,
तो रिकॉन्सिलेशन में चला जाएगा और वो इनपुट को आरसीएम के अकाउंट में आरसीएम दिखा के और इनपुट क्लेम कर लेगा।
तो सर 9 में वो कैसे शो करेगा?
9 में स्पेसिफिक कॉलम है रवीश जी, कि जहां पर आरसीएम को आप शो कर सकते हो और इनपुट को क्लेम कर सकते हो। देयर आर स्पेसिफिक कॉलम, अगर आप 9 को चेक करोगे तो उसमें आपको स्पेसिफिक कॉलम मिल जाएगा। और व्हाट यू हैव डन इज वंडरफुल, क्योंकि आपने 6 महीने मतलब सितंबर से पहले उसको करेक्ट कर लिया, तो 9 में आप उसको करेक्ट करके और क्लेम कर सकते हो।
तो सर जब 9 में हम उसको प्रेजेंट करेंगे तो हमारी डिमांड निकलेगी, क्योंकि वो आरसीएम तो पेड हुआ है नेक्स्ट ईयर में, और वो जो नेक्स्ट ईयर का ऑप्शन होता है उसमें आरसीएम का ऑप्शन नहीं रहता है।
तो अगर आपकी डिमांड निकलेगी तो आप इंटरेस्ट पे करके और उसका क्रेडिट ले लीजिए।
और सर दूसरा क्वेरी है कि अभी डायरेक्टर्स रेम्युनरेशन पर एडवांस रूलिंग आई है कि उस पर आपको आरसीएम पेड करना है।
बिल्कुल।
तो उस केस में प्रीवियस फाइनेंशियल ईयर 17-18 ने 18-19 का आरसीएम पेड नहीं हुआ है और 19-20 का आरसीएम अभी हमारे पास समय है पेड करने का, तो क्या करना चाहिए सर?
देखिए, वो जो डायरेक्टर राजस्थान का जजमेंट है क्लेक्राफ्ट इंडिया का, जिसमें एडवांस रूलिंग आई है, आई डू नॉट एग्री विद दैट एडवांस रूलिंग। द क्लेक्राफ्ट एडवांस रूलिंग इज इन माय व्यू अ बैड लॉ। एडवांस रूलिंग हमेशा नेगेटिव आती है, ना एक्सपेक्ट कि AA, AAAR से या आगे हाई कोर्ट से वो रिवर्स हो जाएगी। डायरेक्टर्स आर नॉट द एम्प्लॉयज ऑफ द कंपनी, एंड द डायरेक्टर फीस एंड द एम्प्लॉयज फीस डू नॉट फॉल विद इन द परव्यू ऑफ टैक्सेबिलिटी। सो उन्होंने जो एडवांस रूलिंग आरसीएम के अंतर्गत उसको की है वो बेसिकली गलत है और मैं उससे एग्री नहीं करता। फिर भी अगर आप आरसीएम पे करना चाहते हो टू अवॉइड योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी, गो फॉर इट एंड पे, बिकॉज दैट इज जीरो टैक्स इफेक्ट। आप जो भी पे करेंगे उसका इमीडिएट आपको इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा। इफ यू डोंट वांट टू फाइट इट आउट, इफ यू डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू अ कंट्रोवर्सी, इट इज एडवाइजेबल टू पे एंड मूव ऑन। नाउ आई वुड बी टेकिंग 2 more queries only. One is Mr. CS Gupta.
Sir, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
One of my client constructing Kalyan Mandapam.
Yes.
At the time of construction, he is claiming ITC regarding cement to steel, etc.
Yes.
After completion of the construction and at the time of running, you can claim. Claim, sir, ITC.
See, there is a Odisha High Court judgment in Safari Retreats.
Yes.
So, on the basis of that Odisha High Court judgment, if you want to claim it, but it is doubtful. Again, the matter is pending before the Supreme Court, and you can always say that you claimed on the basis of the Odisha High Court DB judgment, which has been again followed by the other DB of the Odisha High Court. It was Justice K.S. Javeri judgment. Sir, but in case of cement and steel, I have my own doubts.
Sir, is it applicable to Andhra Pradesh, sir? What is the judgment?
It has a reference value because GST is a central law. It has a persuasive reference value for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And I would be taking again a query from Nitesh Goenka from Karoli. Nitesh, yes.
सर 17-18 और 18-19 के लिए जो सप्लायर है उसने अपनी रिटर्न भर दी, B2C में सप्लाई दिखा दी, बट उसने टैक्स पे कर दिया
जी, और
मैंने अपना ITC क्लेम किया है, तो 16(2) की भी मैं कंडीशन फॉलो कर रहा हूँ और 17(5) में भी कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है, तो फिर मुझे ITC क्यों मतलब नहीं मिलेगी?
इसलिए नहीं मिलेगी कि उसने GSTR 1 में आपका नाम नहीं दिखाया और आपके उसने वो जो सेल है B2C दिखा दी कंज्यूमर, जैसा कि आप खुद कह रहे हैं क्वेरी में. तो unless it is verified, you will not get the credit. He will have to do a correction of GSTR 1 and उसकी limitation मेरे ख्याल से निकल चुकी है. And the last query, Rajiv Inani. Okay, Rajiv Inani is not here. What I would do is I would take Shiv Mangal Singh Chauhan.
सर.
Yes, sir.
सर मेरा एक क्यूरी थी कि फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से मेरे क्लाइंट ने लकड़ी ली थी, तो सर वो शुरू में उन्होंने IGST काटा था, बल्कि लगता SGST CGST था, और हमने उसको SGST CGST में क्लेम कर लिया ITC. तो मतलब सर शुरू की बात है 2017-18 में. तो सर उसका क्या होगा?
टाइम लिमिट नहीं दिया है. आपने GSTR 9 फाइल कर दिया क्या 17-18 का?
सर वो लाइबल नहीं है.
लाइबल नहीं है तो अभी शांति रखिए, कभी नोटिस आएगा तब अपन सोचेंगे. अभी कोशिश कीजिए कि उनके पास टैक्स में मिल जाए क्रेडिट, तो आपको मिल जाएगा. With this I conclude my query session and I would now request my chairman to again say, I am troubling time and again say a concluding remark and then we will close the proceeding. The chairman, sir.
I think that this was really needed, this interactive session, because so many persons across the country have joined it. और जब इतने सारे लोग जब ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं तो उनकी डेफिनेटली वो चाहते होंगे कि इस क्वेरी में हम लोग इसका लाभ उठाएं और कुछ जानकारी कर लें और कुछ डाउट्स को क्लियर कर लें, और ये इससे अच्छा मौका नहीं हो सकता था. इसलिए आई थिंक कि दिस वाज अ वेरी गुड एंड थॉट प्रोवोकिंग सेशन, वेरी इल्यूमिनेटिंग सेशन, और इससे हम सबको बहुत कुछ सीखने का मौका मिला है और बहुत सारी क्वेरीज दूर हुई है. एक बात मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि जो भी टैक्स प्रैक्टिशनर्स और टैक्स प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, अभी आप ये साहब जैसा आप बता रहे थे कि आज के समय में बहुत ही अलग अलग जो लॉज हैं, जो कि कमर्शियल लॉज हैं, उनका आपस में इंटरचेंजेबिलिटी और एप्लीकेबिलिटी हो रही है. तो अगर कमर्शियल प्रैक्टिशनर जो लॉ टैक्स की प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, उनको साथ साथ एंसिलरी लॉ भी जानना जरूरी है. और इसलिए मेरी आप सबों से ये गुजारिश होगी कि आप इसके साथ साथ ये भी पढ़ें. जैसे अभी आपके कई क्लाइंट्स, हमारे बहुत सारे प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, तो अगर मान लीजिए कि उनके ऊपर कोई केस हो जाता है फ्रॉड का और बाद में उसमें प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग हो जाता है, क्योंकि ये सब इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंस की श्रेणी में आएगा, तो वैसी स्थिति में सारे प्रोफेशनल्स को तैयार रहना पड़ेगा, अपने को इक्विप करके रखना पड़ेगा कि प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के प्रोविजन भी पढ़े, उससे रिलेटेड कुछ केसेस भी देखें, ताकि समय आने पर वो अपने क्लाइंट को एडवाइस कर सकते हैं. उसी तरह से अभी आने वाले समय में आर्बिट्रेशन का स्कोप बढ़ता जा रहा है, कमर्शियल कोर्ट का स्कोप बढ़ता जा रहा है, तो सभी लोग उन पर भी एडवाइस कर सकते हैं. और इसीलिए मैंने पटना में फरवरी में एक नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन टैक्स एंड अलाइड लॉज का कंसेप्ट लाया था मैं, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो डेट क्लैश हो गई थी तो वो हो नहीं सका. तो आने वाले समय में करूंगा और मैं आप सबसे अपील करूंगा कि आप उसको ज्वाइन करें, क्योंकि वो अलग अलग लॉज से रिलेटेड कॉन्फ्रेंस होगा, तो उसमें अलग अलग लॉज के स्पीकर जो हैं वो एक साथ एक मंच पर आएंगे और अपनी बात कहेंगे, तो वो भी बहुत इल्यूमिनेटिंग होगा. और आप सबसे मैं ये उम्मीद करता हूं कि आगे भी जो इस तरह के सेशन होंगे उनमें कुछ इंटरेक्टिव सेशन अलग अलग लॉज के भी रखेंगे, उसका भी बहुत फायदा होगा. मैं आप सबको एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं इस अच्छे सेशन के लिए, और उम्मीद करता हूं कि आगे भी इस तरह के सेशन होते रहेंगे, क्योंकि इससे अच्छा इस समय का सदुपयोग और कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. और मैं एक अपील आखिर में आप सबों से करना चाहूंगा, और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आप सब अपने अपनी जगहों पर जरूर कुछ ना कुछ कर रहे होंगे। लॉकडाउन के बाद हम सभी की ये जिम्मेवारी होती है कि कुछ गरीबों की मदद करें, और इसीलिए मैं आप सब से आह्वान कर रहा हूं कि आप तो कर ही रहे होंगे, बट कुछ जरूर थोड़ी मदद अपने सभी आसपास के लोगों की हम करेंगे, तभी इस देश में हम इतनी बड़ी बीमारी से लड़ पाएंगे। सो आई से प्लीज बी सेफ, प्लीज maintain distance and be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman, sir. It was a privilege having you, and it was a privilege hearing you all. Again, friends, all request that we are live on Facebook today. We would be live on YouTube tomorrow, and you can see our video. Please, you must have all received a message that click on that message and you will automatically join our WhatsApp group. Please click on that message. And with this, I am grateful to our chairman, sir, and I would be now giving the mic to Sandeep Agarwal, the Secretary Zone, for his closing remarks.
Thank you, sir. I am thankful to today's chairman, SD Sanjay sir. आज वो हमारे साथ मौजूद थे for his nice chairmanship for this session. And today's speaker Pankaj Giyaji sir. Today, friends, we crossed 800 participants due to both of them. I'm thankful to you from All India Federation of Central Zone. And thank you all for joining us regularly. Please stay tuned with us for more knowledge. Thank you all.
Thank you, friends. Again, a reminder to join our WhatsApp group. And with this, we are ending today's meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a fantastic Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you. And always, as said by our chairman, sir, do some help for the needy persons. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow again, 9:45 a.m. Same time, same place. Okay. Bye-bye. And with this, I am ending the meeting. Thank you.